Is it okay? Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's my honor to be here with you. I am Dr. Hamzah Abbas from Syria, from Aleppo City. Uh, the title was a 4 years follow-up study of immediate and delayed loaded small diameter dental implants. But we will start talking about a general topic. We will start to discuss about short and narrow dental implants. So the traditional way for dental implants has been changed. The traditional way was we need to put implant as many as possible. So in this case, we have four missing teeth. The doctor inserted four dental implants with different sizes and types to restore the four missing teeth. This was the traditional way. The modern way of dental implant orthodontics is to put in an implant as few as required. So, what is the difference between the traditional way and the modern way? The research about osseointegration has been improved. So we start to discuss about the bone loading, the distribution of the forces to the bones that fear the occlusal forces. The osseointegration is uh, very far away from periodontal ligament connection. The bone to implant connection is not same than periodontal ligament that around natural teeth. Do we have mechanical problems or biomechanical problems when we use a short dental implant or narrow dental implants? This is a study, a systematic review of the prognosis of short, less than 10 millimeter dental implants placed in the partially epiglottal patient. The study was 2 years survival rate. The survival rate, as you see in the picture, the implants from 9.5 millimeter to 6 millimeter has a survival rate more than 97%. Every implant more than 6 millimeter was a very good survival rate. But the implant with 5 millimeters, 93.1% survival rate. So all the implants more than 6 millimeters has a very good survival rate when it's short implant. The mechanical complication, the mechanical complication that may be when we use a small, small diameter dental implants or short dental implants. The first problem is the cantilever. Cantilever, cantilever orthodontics on dental implants is very dangerous. Okay, is it better? Okay. Cantilever prosthodontics is a dangerous type of prosthodontics over dental implants. It's a biomechanical problem that may be when we use a short or narrow diameter dental implant. Short dental implants with give us less bone to implant contact. When we get less bone to implant contact, we have a bad bone around dental implants, so the stress is distributed less. The implant to tooth ratio also is a biomechanical problem. We need to put an implant with a good long to make a better stress distribution around implants. But the researchers say that there is no osseointegration loss when we use a cantilever prosthodontics around dental implants with a very good design of the prosthodontics, and there is no osseointegration loss when we use small diameter dental implants, and there is no osseointegration loss when we use a long implant to prosthodontics ratio. Some research said that we can put a prosthodontics with 17 millimeter long when we use a 10 millimeter long dental implant. So what is the difference? The difference that bone to implant connection is not same that periodontal ligament. We know that a small force of natural teeth will make it move, that we make it with orthodontics. But when we put a small force on dental implant is not moving like the teeth with a periodontal ligament. So the small diameter dental implant has been improved by the improving of titanium alloys. The titanium grade 4 has an elastic modulus 800 megapascal, but titanium alloys, the modern one, has more than 900 megapascal. The titanium alloy that used for manufacturing dental implants is TI6AL4V, which consists of 90% titanium, 6% aluminum, and 4% vanadium. This alloy is a very strong alloy, and so we can produce a 3 millimeter diameter dental implant. In some cases, when we extract very small teeth, the lower incisors or the lateral upper incisor, we have just a small amount of remaining all around the tooth. So when we need to put an implant, we have to discuss about the size. Sometimes 3 millimeter diameter dental implant is better than larger diameter. So we need to save our crystal bone around the implant. So clinically, what can we do? In this case, we have just 6 millimeter of vertical ridge left to restore the second premolar. 6 millimeter, we have two choices. We can make sinus bone grafting or put a small diameter or small dental implant, short dental implant. The clinician here put a 6 millimeter dental implant in this case, as you can see, and this case was survived for more than 5 years of follow-up. In this case, to reduce missing canine, we have a small size of residual bone, and this is a 3 millimeter diameter dental implants after 3 years of follow-up. So after that, we have no biomechanical problem when we use a small diameter dental implant or short dental implant. The short and narrow dental implants are not as we think it's very good to use in dentistry. This is my study. We have made it in Aleppo University, a 4 years follow-up study of immediate and delayed loading of small diameter dental implants. The patients in this clinical study was obtained from the Department of Removal Orthodontics, Faculty of Dentistry, University of Aleppo. Patients were chosen in this study were odontulous for at least 1 year and had well-fit complete denture. No suffering from any disease can affect on dental implant success. In total, we have 12 patients, and they received 24 small diameter dental implants. The small diameter dental implants that chosen in this study was 11.5 millimeter length and 3.2 millimeter diameter. This kind of dental implant is a two pieces dental implant, implant body, and ball attachment. Panoramic radiographs was obtained for every case, and one small diameter dental implants, two pieces dental implants, was placed in the mandibular area for every patient. One dental implant. This implant was inserted with a flapless surgical procedure, and we wait 3 months to insert the second dental implant. After the implant placement, a cover screw was placed and the implant was submerged. The patient's pre-existing denture was partially relined with a temporary resilient material, soft liner, to reduce the forces that could affect the implant. After 3 months, after 3 months, the second implant was placed on the other side of the same surgical procedure, and the ball attachment of the two implants was placed immediately after the insertion of the second implant. The cover screw of the first implant was replaced, and the ball attachment was placed and inserted. A sufficient account of the mandibular denture base was removed, and the attachment housing was fixed to the denture base with hard acrylic lining material to activate the two ball attachments. After the acrylic liner materials was set, denture was removed, finished, and reinserted to the patient. Patients were then asked to eat just soft food, replace the overdenture just for cleaning in the next 2 weeks, and undertake of the oral health instructions. In these techniques, the first multimeter dental implant inserted as a delayed loaded, and the second was immediate loaded for every case. This is the existing denture after activation of the two implants. Partial periapical radiographs of the implants were taken immediately and after 3 months, after 6 months, and after 4 years of loading. These radiographs were taken with a panoramic films holder, periapical films holder, and a sufficient amount of high viscosity silicone impression material was applied in the liner, in the interocclusal line or interocclusal base of the periapical film holder. Patients then were asked to bite on this occlusal base to make silicone bite for every implant, which could save the radiographic positioning for every record. Mesial and distal bone resorption around the implants was measured by chi-ruler. This is chi-ruler, and was measured also by Photoshop program. And the marginal bone resorption was the average of mesial and distal bone resorption for every time. So in this study, the represent of overall implant survival rate is 94% for immediately loaded dental implants and 100% of delayed loading. Marginal bone resorption after 3 months was 0.55 millimeter for immediate loading, small diameter implants, and 0.45 for delayed loaded small diameter dental implants. There is a significant differences between these two protocols of loading. P-value was 0.037. The marginal bone resorption after 6 months was 0.79 millimeter for immediate loading and 0.71 millimeter of delayed loading small diameter dental implants. After 4 years, the marginal bone loss was 1.3 millimeter for immediate loading and 1.2 millimeter for delayed loading. So when we make a statistical test here, we find that there is no significant differences between immediate loaded or delayed loaded dental implants. P value was 0.03. It's less than 0.5. So after that, the conclusion of the study, this study, complete mandibular denture supported by two non-splinted small diameter dental implants provided immediate and delayed occlusal loading and function with a high survival rate of both immediate loading 94% and delayed loading 100%. Alveolar bone resorption rate after 4 years was 1.3 millimeter of immediate loading of small diameter dental implants and 1.2 millimeter of delayed loading small diameter dental implants. We need further study to require the determination of successful rate and to make studies for maxillary dentures. It will be better. This study was published and my colleagues, Dr. Khalid Boulad and Dr. Muhammad Mazen Khabbani. And this is the end of my lecture. Thank you for listening. Thank you for inviting me to this conference.